Welcome to After Wine School, the podcast that demystifies wine and makes it approachable for everyone. Join Keith Wallace and Alana Zerbe, two of the nation's leading wine experts, as they uncork everything you need to know about wine, from picking the right bottle to mastering unforgettable food and wine pairings. This isn't about stuffy lectures or confusing jargon. It's about enjoying wine the way it's meant to be. So grab a glass and let's dive in. Don't forget to subscribe to After Wine School today.
Hey, welcome is the After School podcast. This is the Wine Podcast.
Hi, Keith.
Hey.
My name's Alana Zerbe. I'm the Director of Wine Education at the Wine School of Philadelphia. And you are Keith Wallace, the founder and director of the Wine School of Philadelphia.
Yes.
And we are sponsored by the National Wine School, the leading online program for sommeliers.
Awesome. So first off, I did a AI question. I went on to ChatGPT and I asked them a very simple question. What is the most annoying wine question in the world?
Mm-hmm.
And it came back and I actually agree with it.
Okay.
I thought it was perfect. I thought it was fantastic. So I want to talk about this. Afterwards, we are going to taste some wine.
Great.
So, all right. But first off, do you know what that question was? You don't?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. All right. Okay, let's pretend you don't know what it is.
I have no idea.
My God. Well, it's amazing. Having someone ask you, what is your favorite wine?
Yeah, and that is dead on.
It is. Why is it? Why is that such a dumb question?
So, and I feel some kind of way even saying that it's a dumb question, because I know that it can almost hurt some people to hear that because it seems so innocuous. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite wine? But, wine is one of those things that is very individual. We also have a lot of conceptions of elitism and power wrapped up in it.
Here.
So there's some weighing and balancing that you always have to do. You really want to calibrate it in a way for your audience. And if you give something that is so obscure, esoteric, or wildly expensive, that's not going to make somebody feel good. And that's what we
For yourself. Yeah.
I want somebody, if they're having a conversation with me, to feel good about it. And so I don't want them to feel like they're outside looking in, which I think is how so many people feel about wine. So those are my reasons. What are yours?
I should clarify the question. Because I didn't give you the whole question. The whole question was, what is the worst question or the dumbest question to ask a sommelier?
Okay.
So that's it. That's what the real question.
Okay.
It's not like, go ahead, ask your friends what their favorite wine is. But asking a sommelier, okay, so a couple of things that I like to point out is that, if you are just listening to jazz, let's say like you have never listened to jazz before, and you ask somebody who has been listening or studying or even playing jazz for decades what their favorite jazz is, okay, it's not going to be something easy. It's going to be something like Coltrane.
Yeah.
It's going to be deep, weird, interesting, because over time, the simple things you get kind of jaded over. Like the first time I ever tried an Australian Shiraz, at that time, I think I was probably a cook in a restaurant, and someone poured that for me. I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Like there's never anything that's ever going to be better than this. And of course, over time, that was like an $8 bottle, or at that time, probably $6, because that was a few years ago. And so I think that as you asking me what my favorite wine is, it's not going to answer the question you actually want to have answered, which is, what should I be drinking? What will I like? And because what I like is going to be way different. And FYI, it still is in the Syrah family. It's just Hermitage, which I usually tell people, my favorite wine in the world, when you open it up, it just smells like Bambi died 3 months ago. Yeah. I mean, it is so stinky. It's so intense, but it hits this weird thing in my amygdala that makes me just like glad to be alive. I mean, it hits like some weird monkey place where I'm just like ripping apart some sort of, animal. Oh, it is so delicious, but it's also then just so elegant and beautiful. And yeah, I love that wine, but also like exactly, you said it. I mean, that's hundreds of dollars a bottle for the wine. Yeah, I've had that. I absolutely love it, but that's not where you start. It's not answering the question they want answered. And because that's a harder question. Like, what am I going to like? That's harder because there's all kinds of things in that. There is are you a super taster? How much saliva you're excreting at that point? What's your anxiety level right there? What kinds of experiences have you had? Who you are, your experiences up to that point. And so it's a longer conversation. Like that's the kind of thing where once I know somebody, like who's taken a few classes with me, I can start getting an idea of the things that they love. So that's my answer is, yeah, there's no good answer.
Well, I would say, so we can offer a
Yeah.
modification on that question. What I would love to answer
Mm-hmm.
is the question, what was your favorite wine experience? So that,
Oh,
right, then
yeah.
that opens it up, and I can think immediately to the Willamette Valley almost 13 years ago now, going to a winery that doesn't even exist because it
Oh.
was in somebody's garage. He was
Mm-hmm.
a former engineer. Everything was perfection. It was just us. He brought out his soil samples, and his Riesling was divine. I think he sold the winery, but it doesn't exist anymore. And that's another thing about wine, too. Not everything stays
Yeah,
in
yeah.
production. So sometimes when you tell someone a wine that's not even available, that doesn't feel very good either. But if I can talk about that experience, it's
Yeah.
completely different.
And that's lovely because we do have in our trade, we do have the tendency to actually just give the answer
Mm-hmm.
that we're asked, right?
Mhm.
And that completely separates us from. But even that question, if I answer that question, what's your favorite wine experience? I'm going to take to heart what you just said because I usually say, oh, well, when Lafitte opened their doors for me and with a couple of our wine school students and they opened up the 94. Like, that's my answer, but that's an awful answer.
Yes.
But there have been so many other experiences that are simple, like just like someone's garage in the Willamette Valley. That's true. Or, when we were in for a wine school tour in Priorat. And this winemaker who makes, I'm not going to mention him because he actually is famous, but his kids were dirty dipes running around. His menthol cigarettes were in the crusher, the stemmer. I mean, it was the dirtiest, awful, but it was also like, oh, some places you can just be a dirty dog and still make the greatest wines in the world.
Right.
I love that experience
Yes.
because coming from Davis, I always want to be clean and precise. And here's this guy making a wine I absolutely love. And I honestly, I haven't been able to have it ever since.
Oh, that's hilarious.
We still have in the wine school, we still have a bottle of it in the cellar. Like, I can't open that.
That's hilarious.
Like, I just have the picture of his kid with his dirty dimes running around. Like, it just seems wrong.
Yeah, I can picture that too.
Yeah.
He actually had lines going across the alley from his house to the
Oh,
winery. So it
that's
was
right. I forgot about. Oh yeah, no, he had the pumps right on one side to the other side because his tanks and we're on the other side.
So I'm going to offer, for those of you who maybe are in the wine trade and get this question, I'm going to offer up something that I've learned to do, which is to have a pat answer. And I'm not going to share on this podcast what my pat answer is, but I want you, if you're out there, think about something that a producer and a place you want to support, and something that is in an achievable range. I think 40 to 50 is ideal, and definitely think of something that is unique, not well, I'm not going to dog other wines in the process, but if it's something, but I'm just saying, have something in the back of your pocket that when you do get that question, just so that you don't want them to feel that they've asked a bad question, because that's something too, people don't want to ask about wine. So this whole thing about, we often say there are no dumb questions.
Yeah.
So we don't want to put this
That's true.
out into the world and with any hint that it's a bad thing to ask questions. It is.
No, yeah.
So what you can do as somebody in the trade is just have something at the ready that you can tell them about, and then maybe segue into what are the things to look for and why you like it so much. And that's been my workaround here.
Oh, that's great. My workaround is that I am just so psychologically damaged that the things I like, you're not going to like, and you should be grateful for it.
And I think they believe that. I think when you say that, they can accept.
After Wine School is proudly supported by the National Wine School, the gold standard in professional wine certifications. Whether you're dreaming of a career in the wine industry or just eager to take your wine knowledge to the next level, the National Wine School has you covered. Their programs are trusted, rigorous, and designed for aspiring wine pros like you. Visit wineschool.us to learn more and start your journey today.
See, this thing is, sadly, it hurts, but they do. The other thing I would recommend is never recommend a wine you can only find in Manhattan. And you know who I'm talking to. You know exactly. You're listening right now. You're watching. Don't do that. That is such a dick move. So yeah, and I also there are plenty of wines that I love that are inexpensive. And so I will, especially if it's in the summer, if I'm eating oysters, I want Muscadet. That's what I want. And so things like that. So yeah, I am more than happy because in the trade, people trust me. And they know if I'm telling them that an inexpensive bottle of wine is truly baller, they're going to give it a try. So yeah, and guess what we're doing today?
I love that you said that.
Right?
That was a beautiful segue. In fact, we are going to try a Muscadet with you today.
Yes.
So this is from, I love pronouncing this so much. Famille Liebeau. And the bottling is called Gulan.
Oh, that's
so
impressive.
If you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. I have already, because we do have our handy little Coravin here. I'm not intentionally, but yay. Very important to have when you just want to have a little taste. But, oh my God. Well, first off, cheers. Just smelling that makes me want to grind up about a pound of oyster shells and just snort them. This, yeah, sorry, my tasting notes are never actually very
It actually reminds me of one of my favorite memories involving my Pomeranian.
Oh no, this is Charles. Charles is evil.
You know a lot about Charles, but Charles was on a walk one day close to some oyster flats in New England. And Charles corkscrewed himself into the mud, into the dank. And it was a smell that was kind of unfathomable.
Yeah.
And he was never happier. And there's a little whiff of the muck and the mire in this wine.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it.
This is low tide in the oyster flats.
Yes.
All right. Now,
intensity.
Personally, I like the fact that it's kind of floral. That it has
floral.
Yeah, it's floral. What's that invasive vine that has that amazing smell?
What's your favorite?
I know I can't figure it.
Honeysuckle.
Oh, that's right.
I love
I know. Honeysuckle is evil.
You
the plant
plant it
is
all the time.
I rip it up whenever it's in public property, never in private. I walk by it every day where I live. I know.
Beautiful smell.
Oh, it's an amazing smell.
Wonderful smell. And lots of minerality. Huge amounts of.
Oh God, yeah, no, it's oyster shell. It's sea. It's if you ever are in New England or anywhere on the Atlantic, that it happens a little bit on the Pacific too. When it's not really smoke, it's actually the surf. It becomes almost like a fog coming out at you right when you're on the beach. It hits you with that very specific smell of very clean saline. It's always very, very cold. It's an amazing smell.
Yes.
Yeah, and I get that also because this is on Lees. Sir Lee's, we're getting a lot. A lot of not quite cheesy, but very nutty flavor. So I'm expecting this is going to have a little bit of round texture along with high acid.
Almost nougat.
It is. Thank you. I was just looking for that word.
Yeah.
And nougat is one of those words. I love it, but I always forget it.
Yeah, nougat.
Yeah, because everyone wants to remember crushing up oyster shells and snort them like cocaine. Yeah, because classiest ever.
Let's take a sip.
All right. Okay. All right. Sorry for that tasting noise. But this is It's just beautifully structured.
Yes.
It's got great high toned acidity. It has it does do that lemon lime thing, but it goes to a little bit more. What is that flavor there? Is it?
Well, I think it lends almost into tropical fruit.
Yes. Thank you. Now, you are way better at this than I am. What kind of, like, so if we want to ID what kind of tropical fruit, what are we thinking here?
Okay.
Okay, everyone, this is going to be both true and annoying that she can do that.
I love fruit so
Yes.
much. I truly love fruit, and I love Asian food. And one of my best food experiences, peak food experiences, was Vietnam.
Okay.
And the two fruits that I truly fell in love with there were passion fruit,
Yeah.
which is incredibly tart
Yep.
and searing, and also jackfruit
Yeah.
is wildly delicious. So I guess I want to say those two. If you don't know those two, I would say a papaya.
Okay. Yeah.
Is really dive into some exotic fruits.
Yeah.
Rambutan, that's something that shows up in wines, and I
Ooh.
sound so pretentious, but I wouldn't if more people tried it and
Yeah.
they could also smell that and taste it.
Okay, so jackfruit. Now, jackfruit is intense because not only like the fruit's delicious, but also the closer you get in, the closer you get into the center, it gets meaty.
Breaking it down.
And that's where this is. So I want to explain. It's the nether regions of a papaya,
There you go.
if it had one. That's what it is. It's got a little stank.
Yeah.
But it's all kinds of fruit. It makes you feel a little bit dirty,
Yeah.
but super delicious.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I think everybody will understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, hey, everyone can, but you can picture it,
Keith, do you know that people today are drinking less wine? Are we aiding in that effort? Or
No.
we're trying to.
We are much more open as a society for different kinds of expressions of sexuality, humanity, all over. And just because I'm really into the nether regions of a papaya, it should be acceptable in civil society. I'm just saying. And I think everyone will like this more.
Okay.
I think we're adult enough.
Excellent.
This is after school.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but I want to keep drinking this.
Yes, please.
And I don't want everyone to watch me do this because I am going to drink this whole bottle.
Okay.
And I am going to snort some more oyster shells with this.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to do that in front of me. So
No.
does that mean our time has come to an end?
I
then?
just want to say, everyone, thank you for listening, watching, however you're getting this. By all means, please subscribe.
Oh.
Yes,
Everything we have said is our own personal opinion.
that's true.
And should not reflect on any business we may be associated with, even our own.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
promised we would give that disclaimer.
Yeah, that's why this is after school.
Yeah, after
Look,
school.
this is after school, man. This is it. All right,
Full time.
guys. Have a great time. Drink some great wine. Find some Muscadet. Find one that's a little smelly. Hey, let us know. But just
Oh, yeah.
let us know. Look, in the comments, whatever. Thank you. Have a great night. Enjoy. Drink good wine. Drink boring wine. Just don't ask me any questions. No. Ask me all the questions in the world. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for spending time with us on After Wine School. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit subscribe so you never miss out on more wine wisdom, tips, and laughs. Until next time, raise your glass, savor the moment, and cheers to you.